What's going on, everyone? So I saw this trailer for the Heretic, and I saw that, hey, Hugh Grant as a psycho, sign me up. I will gladly take that at any point, at any time. And that's what we get. We're getting Hugh Grant. Yes, Hugh Grant, of all people. You're talking about a guy that has, always been kind of the love interest and, played in these, like, romantic rom-coms and, a lot of these, like, comedic love stories and stuff, right? Like, this is a guy that has always kind of been a very specific, almost typecast type of actor. And to see him kind of branch out and end up playing in The Heretic, which it seems to be this kind of horror thriller, and he's going to be the bad guy, you got me sold immediately. As soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, this is great. Sign me up. But basically, the premise seems to be kind of centered and very, it seems to be very religious focused, right? Because it's based on two young missionaries that basically end up in this cat and mouse game with Hugh Grant, who, we'll see what approach they take with this. He kind of seems like this kind of mastermind, almost like an escape room type thing, where these two girls have to kind of figure it out and try to survive. And, he comes in and he's like, hey, you got these two doors, you pick the right door, you can leave and be free. It kind of sounds like an escape room where they're going to have to solve these puzzles and they're going to have to solve these, like, riddles and stuff, try to navigate and figure out what's the best course and how to escape, right? But the premise is two young missionaries become ensnared in a deadly game of cat and mouse when they knock on the door of a diabolical Mr. Reed. Again, Hugh Grant. Trapped in his home, they must turn to their faith if they want to make it out alive. So again, very religious undertones. So you got this, like, kind of religious horror film. We'll see how much does the actual religious aspect play a role. Is this one of those things where, God saves them or something, where they read a passage or something and it unlocks something? Or is it something where, maybe Hugh Grant is kind of testing their faith, testing their knowledge, testing their understanding of religion and whatnot? I'm really curious to see the approach, because also these type of films are usually a bit of a dangerous game in the real world, right? Because you're implementing people's faith and belief and religion into a story that is a horror story, right? It is a horror film. So I'm curious, like, how much do they toe the line? How much do they go over the line? Is there a lot of backlash and blow up because of this? But to me, it's just Hugh Grant as an actor now gets to play this kind of diabolical psycho that is just creating these little traps and these games and these riddles. Like, that just in alone intrigues me. Right? And again, I like the form of creativity, right? It's not just, Escape Room 2 or whatever they're on. I know there's been like 15 of those different, like, escape room movies, but my point is, like, it seems to be its own thing. It seems to be its own story. It seems to be its own kind of vision and what they want to do as far as this film. And I'm always going to praise originality, even if this movie flops, right? Even if this movie is awful, right? I'll always credit originality, right? I want to see more chances taken. I want to see more things taken. Maybe not to the extreme. What's the Robbie Williams documentary that's coming out where they're going to have him be played by a monkey? CGI monkey, but still, like, maybe that's great. Maybe it turns out right. Maybe, but just the idea, I think is silly. But hey, there's been a lot of films and entertainment that sound and look silly, and you go and watch it, and you're like, wow, this is great, right? But so far, you look at, like, the 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb. That's a good sign. It's directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. Again, familiar directors, and it's releasing November 8th, 2024. So I'm definitely going to be excited and tune in to this film. Hopefully, it's a good horror thriller style film, right? I hope it's not something where, I hope that they kind of keep it simple and sort of in a box in a lot of ways, right? If that makes sense. I'm all for them kind of taking risks, taking chances, and I think the premise of these two missionary girls, wet behind the ears, trying to just do the work of the church and work of their beliefs and share the word of God, and end up approaching this house. There is this sense of fear, especially with those missionaries and them coming. I mean, most people have had them knock on your door at some point. I've had them knock on my door at some point, and there is this sense of just, you got to imagine. I mean, I've never done that, so but I can imagine there's probably a form of anxiety in a lot of ways of like, you never know who's going to answer that door. You never know who is on that other side and what in the risk that you're taking by knocking on that door. And I think that idea and that concept and that sort of premise kind of coming to fruition in this film, I think really could make for an interesting film. Could really make for an interesting story and movie, and really kind of, just give you a creative style film. I imagine that there's going to be some level of twist. I'm sure there's going to be some level of, you think it's one way and another, and that's fine. I'm all for the misdirection, but just you see a lot of these movies kind of try to get carried away and kind of try to go left field when they should have just stayed on the path, right? And I just think that the idea, just straightforward, is easy. And I think it could be really good. Trust your actor in Hugh Grant, who is an excellent actor that can come in and play the role, and you get to see him in a way. I mean, you're going to have people intrigued as myself. Like, literally, the only reason I even found out about this and even watched the trailer, I didn't even know what it was. It just kind of popped up as I'm, like, doing research for some other stuff. And I'm like, oh, this trailer, and I see Hugh Grant, and, like, the tag was, like, Hugh Grant as, like, a psycho or whatever. And I was like, what? All right. Like, let me see what this is about, right? Like, it just, you had me sold, right? And there's probably going to be a lot of other people, right? Trust your actor. You have a very interesting story that draws you in, and I think can really kind of go a long way, right? Like, again, a simple knock on the door leads to these chaotic games that put you in a position of survival. And it's something that I could see really kind of build up and give an audience that tension and anxiety and kind of, keep them guessing. Is this guy a kook, or is there an underlining purpose? Is it a meaning? Is it something like a Saw, where John Kramer, like, what he believes he's doing is right? No, he believes that, like, this is necessary, that he's helping people, right? But it's just in such an extreme, chaotic way. Is that what we're seeing here, right? Is he already familiar with these girls when they come and knock on the door, right? Or is this kind of their first encounter, their first meeting? They're trying to talk to him and discuss the word of God and stuff, and he ends up just wants to test their knowledge, test their faith, or maybe he notices something, right? Like, there's so many questions, there's so many possibilities in that regard, and that's what I like. I want to see some creativity. I want to see some excitement. I want to see some freshness. I want to see these type of films that kind of draw you in. And the idea of Hugh Grant being this psycho, I just think really even adds to it even more, right? Sign me up. I'm excited and looking forward to it. So, but anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Let me know what your thoughts. Are you excited for this film? Have you seen the trailer? If you haven't seen the trailer, definitely go check out the trailer. The cast is solid. That's something I probably should have mentioned earlier. But you got Hugh Grant, Sophia Thatcher, you got Chloe East, Ellie McKinnon, Carolyn Adar, River Kodak. You got Topher Grace as the Elder Kennedy, Stephanie Levine, Ellie Young, Wendy Corling, and Anisha Bailey. So again, I think especially the front-loaded part of the cast, I think is very good. Adds for some excitement. So, are you excited for this film? Are you not? Were you familiar with this film before this video? Or you not? like I said, I wasn't, and then I was like, oh, let's talk about it, because again, I always want to try to shine a light on the what seems to be an original film. At this point, I understand the idea of like every film has been thought of or is inspired or taken out of a book of this or that or the other. I get that, but I just like that it's not, here's Escape Room 3, but this time it's religious, right? Like, I be a little more creative. But how you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.